Have you ever wanted a smoother day, a smoother week, but then chaos happens and life happens and everything just feels so all over the place? And it's an uphill battle with getting your child to comply with some of the basics. That's pretty normal. And that's where routines can come in to help you. They are not the same as a schedule. So a schedule would be, all right, every day, my child's going to start homework at 4 o'clock. It's virtually impossible to keep regimented schedules because every day is different and stuff happens. However, we can have a routine about when to get started with homework. And this is the most common routine in households. And it's one that I would encourage you to consider if you don't have one. So there's lots of times kids can do their schoolwork, right? They can do it right after school, after a 30-minute break, before dinner, after dinner. For our real procrastinators, before bed, for some of them, before school and the next morning, on the bus to school, and for some in the class period right before they have to turn in the assignment. So for younger kids, what we know is they do need some downtime, but typically not a ton. So about a 30-minute break tends to work well. It might be different every day. It could be they get home on Monday at 4, they get that 30-minute break. But on Tuesday, you work, you pick them up from aftercare, they still get the 30-minute break. Now, older kids often want to start later in the evening. And what I would encourage is considering maybe getting them to start before dinner, even if it's just opening your laptop to see what you have that night, or maybe starting right after dinner or right after you get home from a sports practice. You know, we often focus on the end time for schoolwork. Parents will say, oh, my son, he's up so late at night. It's ridiculous. It's hard to control the end time, but what we do have more power over is that start time. And that tends to be more productive. Now, having a routine also lends to something that I call the predictability factor. When kids know what to expect, they're more likely to follow through and they're less likely to push back. And who doesn't want that? All right, so here are some other routines. That's a daily routine, Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday. Here's a weekly routine. I call this the Sunday session. And this is a time where you get everybody together, not just your kid with ADHD, but you and all your kids, if you have multiple kids, and you say, let's look at the week ahead. And during that time, again, everybody's participating. Hopefully you can piggyback it off of something you already do, like dinner or maybe after a sports practice or coming home from an event. And the reason you want to do this is it develops the skill, the executive function skill of planning. So if you have a younger child, you're going to say, let's look at the week ahead. And you might have something like this. This is a week at a glance calendar page. And I actually created this for you. And if you want to download this, you can go to our website. I made a special page for all the resources I'm going to share today. And it is ectutoring.com/attitude, ADDITUDE 2023. And you'll find everything there. So with the weekly roundup, you take your younger kids, because they may not have homework yet, but they have extracurriculars. And you might say, hey, let's talk about the week ahead. What do you have coming up? It might be a quiz. It could be a test. It could be that they have violin practice on Tuesday or soccer practice on Thursday. Whatever it might be, you can help them to write it on the calendar or you write it with them. But you're having a discussion and you're previewing. I love this. And here's why. A visual always trumps a verbal. A visual trumps a verbal. And that means anytime it can be in writing, it's so much better for us and our kids, because then they can just go up to the calendar and see what they have going on. Instead of, hey, Mom, what time am I going to practice today? What do I have today? And it helps them be a little bit more independent.